The hip-hop world just struck a jaw-dropping twist. Jim Jones, fresh off his dramatic drug deal, arrest is behind bars, and now whispers are emerging that Cameron Harm's own Pink Panther might be next under the microscope. Yes, you heard that right. Cameron under investigation fans are stunned. Emotions raced hot throughout social feeds as rumors turned into full-blown stories. Cameron's name appears in Seal court docs. Dips, its empire-rocked lawyer, panic caught on. Could this be a case of guilt by association? Or is there something deeper simmering in the shadows of Harlem's most iconic rap insiders? Close to the Dipset inner circle, alleged federal officials are combing through old phone logs, bank information, even private text messages. Links all in. Pursuit of the smoking gun family was left divided, some saying Cameron is innocent, others muttering that he's been hiding secrets for years. And let's not forget the personal stakes. Cameron's reputation, the future of Dipset, and the fortunes of everyone tied to the dynasty. The tension is genuine, the drama is intense, and one question looms larger than ever. Is Dipset facing its darkest hour? However, hold on to your seats because this story is only just getting started. Doors swung open again, and Cameron stepped in with a heavy heart. Whispers trailed him along the marbled corridor, shadows of doubt trailing every step. He was flanked by his attorney, Marcus Reed, whose face was steely exhausted. Sources say Reed had spent. Cam refused to meet their gaze, instead focusing on the polished floor tiles, as if mapping out a path to safety that might not exist inside. The stifling courtroom. The judge's gavel fell echoing like a distant warning. The prosecution pivoted to a fresh piece of evidence: surveillance footage from a warehouse. On the outskirts of the city, in the grainy black and white clip, a figure resembling Cam moved through stacks of boxes, speaking in hushed tones with a known associate of Jim Jones. We have testimony that on March 12th, Mr. Carter met with Mr. Jones, the prosecutor, in a tone that used Cam's true name, and they discussed delivery logistics. Prophet splits the room, held its breath. Jamal, a Dipset road manager, sat in the gallery, heart racing. He had promised to preserve the group's reputation, but now he felt powerless. He glanced at his phone. Social media feeds blazed, with Cam tied to the drug ring. News fans were stunned. Their faith was questioned. Earlier that morning, Jamal had tweeted Dipset, "Till we die," but now he pondered deleting it. What if the words they penned about loyalty and brotherhood rang hollow? The family was left divided, demanding for an early public declaration. Others advocating silence until the facts emerged in an adjoining studio. Jadaku's paced like a caged lion. He had flown in from love for support, only to be blindsided by the warehouse film. "That's bullshit," he mumbled repeatedly. The footage on his phone. Cam was there, scouting beats, not counting bricks. His producer Tone placed a soothing hand on his shoulder. "We'll get to the bottom of this," Tone vowed, though his voice quivered. Jadakus nodded, but inside uncertainty. Gnawed at him, he remembered the good days, late-night ciphers in the basement. The smell of fresh ink on recording contracts. The unbreakable camaraderie forged in difficulty. Suddenly those memories felt like smoke in the wind. Back at the courthouse entrance, a swarm of press and demonstrators, a group brandishing free camera banners, battled with a smaller, more agitated audience saying, "No one is above the law." Chants filled the air as sirens sounded in the distance. A teenage admirer. Riley cried, tears in her voice. "He's innocent, I swear it." Across the street, an onlooker snapped, "Dipset is dead." Gravity on a brick wall. The scene looked like a war zone. Not the birthplace of some of hip-hop's most iconic anthems. Emotions ran high. and each camera angle captured a new angle of Agent Hughes scoured as he read the discovery. The audience gasped. The judge paused, correcting his spectacles to confirm what he had heard. For a second, it appeared that Cam might have gotten a break. The tightness in his shoulders lessened, slightly, only to be replaced by lingering fear. Would this be enough to clear his name, or only a momentary reprieve outside? Meanwhile, the rumor mill churned faster. Late-night talk programs latched on the Tex Bomb show, speculating wildly about Cam's role. Away with anything, while another retorted, "Or is this just a diversion?" Fans blasted back and forth online, expressions of support combining with pleas for accountability in the public square, become a digital coliseum, and Cam was at its center. He watched it all unfold from the sidelines, heart heavy with regret that his name had ever appeared in the same breath as illicit deals. At home, Cam's family dealt with the impact. His younger sister Kiara refused left her bedroom eyes red from sobbing. His mother Donna pieced together care packages for him, including homemade sandwiches and a handwritten letter, reminding him of the significance of family. "They can't take your spirit," she wrote. "Remember who you are." But even she's steadfast optimism had cracks. She left her window ajar that morning, listening for police sirens that might herald the worst. Each distant wail sent her heart racing in. A stark contrast, Jim Jones sat in his cell, smirking at the news word that Cam's name was splashed across headlines. He tapped a "Dipset's legacy ends with you." Cam mumbled to himself. Even behind bars, Jones wielded influence. As his legal counsel, Don spoke with him through a glass partition, bringing news of the text, message. Bombshell Jones laughed low. "Let them fight over crumbs," he said, voice chilly. "I'll be out soon, and when I'll regain what's mine." His plan to undermine Cam and seize control of Dipset had succeeded beyond his worst desires. Meanwhile, Jules Santana remained a wild card. He had stayed out of the storm publicly, but sources say he met with Cam surreptitiously one night, offering support and insider information. "We'll weather this," Jules told him. "Just stick to the truth." Cam nodded gratefully, but tired. Their friendship established through shared suffering had never been more crucial, but Jules himself faced examination. Some suspected he was negotiating his position with federal prosecutors. Offering testimony in exchange for leniency, betrayal lurked around every corner. The city buzzed as night fell, the bright lights of Harlem's clubs and studios contrasting with the dark headlines dominating news feeds. Dipset's empire, once built on unity and swagger, now teetered on the brink. Tested rumors went rampant, and every new development felt like another blow for Cameron. The battle was not just about clearing his reputation. It was about preserving a legacy. As he prepared to return to that courtroom the next morning, he realized he couldn't do it alone. The destiny of Dipset, and perhaps his life part 1, ends with Cam staring at the courtroom ceiling, quietly promising to fight back. He grasped his lawyer's hand and said, "I won't let them take everything from me." The echo of his pledge lingered in the air, setting the stage for the next chapter in a saga that had only just begun the minute Cameron said those words. A new determination settled over him like armor. He had tasted fear, but now he was poised to fight back without warning. The courthouse door swung open again, and the next witness was summoned. A former Dipset roadie named Marcus Slick Davis. Slick limped to the stand, eyes flashing, sweat crackling at his hairline. He cleared his throat. "I transported thousands of items for Jim Jones." He began voice cracking, but I never saw Cameron touch a single one. The prosecution jumped on Mr. Davis. "Can you explain why Stack of studio timestamps. Cameron was recording vocals for his upcoming album at the exact hours in question. We have producers, engineers, and timestamp files to prove it. Cam nodded relief, poring over his face in the courtroom. Buzzed some jurors, whispered among themselves, while others scrolled notes furiously later. That afternoon, Jules Santana slipped into court in a hooded jacket, sunglasses masking his expression. As he took the stand, the prosecution grilled him about his loyalty. "Mr. Santana, have you ever seen Cameron Jules?" Shifted uneasily, and after a long pause, he responded, "I've seen Cam interested in the music and art world, but never in anything shady. We grew up together. He's always been into the culture, not crime." The courtroom exploded. Fans outside chanted Jules' name. Their support reignited. Emotions ran high as flashbolts popped, catching every second of Jules' defense. However, just when it looked, Cameron Lindsay Cole, a private investigator for the defense, presented a twist. She had uncovered surveillance footage from a luxury car dealership where Cameron met with the same Jim Jones lieutenant weeks before the arrest. When she played the clip, the prosecution gasped. Lieutenants strolled side by side, their voices low, exchanging what appeared to be an envelope. Lindsay's voice was calm as she stated, "Further review reveals the envelope contains promotional flyers for a forthcoming charitable event, not cash or contraband." She showed up the actual poster, emblazoned with charity insignia and event dates. The prosecution scowled, but doubt had been restored. Meanwhile, deep in the Fez Mobile Command Center, parked across the street, Agent Rachel Furrow studied a map of phone pairs. She tapped a point where Cameron's phone and a known Jones Associates device had pins within seconds of each other, miles apart. "We can't ignore this," she said to her partner Mark. "It suggests uncanny coordination. If it wasn't deliberate." Mark frowned, but phones can be spoofed or switched. "I need definitive proof." Tying the device to Cam, Rachel nodded, irritation etched on her face. The investigation had become a tightrope between fact and fiction. In another corner of the city, Cameron's grandmother performed a small prayer ritual. At her brownstone, friends and family gathered. Kira held her brother's old baseball cap, tears shining. "We need a sign," she said. Someone lit a sparkler, and for a moment the flames danced like hope. Their mother, Donna, released a handful of rose petals into the breeze. The family was divided. Some insisted on trusting the legal system. Some talked of corruption and conspiracies. But in that circle of light, they pledged to be united no matter the outcome. Back at the courthouse, Cameron slumped in the hallway, tiredness heavy in his bones. A journalist approached. Microphone extended. "Cam, do you have any comment on the latest surveillance revelation?" Cam shook his head slowly. "I'm tired of rumors. I just want to clear my name and get back to my life." And my music voice quiver. The reporter pressed on. "Are you scared? The feds will keep looking." Cam hesitated, then squared his shoulders. "I'm not frightened. They'll find nothing, since I did nothing wrong with that." He turned and walked away, a solitary figure, enveloped by the grey courtroom walls. The following morning, a leaked document from the prosecution's files hit the internet. Hop polls. Cameron's live broadcast is slated to begin in just hours. Every camera team is poised, every fan on edge. The narrative may shift again, or it could reinforce the argument for his innocence. The path from whispers to headlines had taken them here on the cusp of truth or disaster. And with those final breaths of expectancy, the stage is set for part 3, where loyalties will be challenged, secrets will be revealed, and Dipset's destiny hangs on a thread. The live stream began with a quiet hum of anticipation. Cameron emerged on TV, sitting against the backdrop of Heron Street art. His expression was firm, but worn shadows under his eyes told the story of restless nights. He leaned forward, hands joined, and addressed his admirers directly. "I know rumors have run rampant." Voice steady, "I'm here to set the record straight." Thousands of responses slid past, in real-time messages of support, skepticism, and questions flying quicker than he could read behind the scenes. Jadaku's paced off, camera checking his watch every few seconds. Tone monitored stream's technical fee, ensuring no malfunctions, as Lindsay Cole sat with the printed transcript of important points, ready to intervene if needed at home. Cam's grandmother tuned in on her ancient television set, praying each time Cam took a breath. Hira watched from her bed, holding a pillow, tears in her eyes, but hope in her heart. Cam began outlining his alibi in detailed studio logs, producer affidavits, and timestamp video footage of him recording songs during the claimed drug drop dates. He acknowledged the misunderstanding about the warehouse footage, said that the meeting was for charity event logistics, and he even turned the flyer on camera so viewers could read the tiny print. "This is real," he stated quietly. "This is what I was doing." Emotions ran strong as admirers typed, "We believe you," and offered them proof in a flash of pixelated support. Just when it looked Cam could impact public opinion back in his favor, the screen flickered. A notification popped up, breaking news. The live stream paused, then switched to a split screen, showing a live feed of the courthouse entrance. Reporters hovered around a black sub, from which stepped a tall figure, wearing a hoodie and sunglasses. The camera zoomed in. The license plate matched the one used by Jim Jones's legal team. And the face on the stream said, "What is that about?" he whispered, coming closer to the camera. The show turned back to Cam, but the damage had already been done. Social media exploded with conspiracy theories and new charges. Had Jones's team planted that card to make it appear that Cam was engaging with Jones's lawyers in private? Or was Cam's defense mailing mixed messages blurred the boundary between truth and trickery? And some fans yelled, "Foul play, Jones is pulling strings from behind bars." Others detected a fresh layer of deception. Cam was hiding something again. Meanwhile, inside the courthouse, Cam's attorney, Marcus Reed, arrived to commotion. The black vehicle was parked prominently near the press area, pulling camera personnel like moles to a flame. Reed rushed out and marched toward the vehicle, demanding answers. "Allowed this," he barked, voice echoing off the stone walls. An anxious Baruch approached and mumbled it was provided. As evidence from the prosecution, Reed's expression hardened. "They're planning props now," he shouted within. He discovered a sealed envelope, labeled Exhibit, 47 pieces, comprising surveillance recordings of phone calls between Cam and an unknown number. Hours before the warehouse rendezvous, it appeared the prosecution was doubling down back in the live stream studio. Cam took a long breath. "We're not done," he remarked, pressing, "I'm going back to court tomorrow, and we'll face this head on." He signed off, releasing more proof soon. Ending the stream, the screen went black, but the talk persisted. Hashtags moved from Free Amaron to Loss Exhibit 47B, stoking another firestorm of speculation. The next morning, Part 3. As the story evolved, the court reconvened with heightened intensity. The prosecution called its next witness, a tech specialist named Holly Yang, who testified about the phone logs in Exhibit 47 bits. She explained how call metadata, any errors in Holly's research. Outside, TV vans lined up bumper to bumper, prepared to pounce on every reaction a mem from a neighborhood mosque had. Stood among the journalists, asking prayer for justice, while a group of rappers held a peaceful protest half a block away with posters reading, "Justice for Cameron and truth will prevail." The air crackled. Everyone had selected a side, but deeper issues lingered. Was this about justice, celebrity, or power? Inside the courtroom, Reed began cross-examination, questioning Holly on the dependability of phone pings, citing incidents when devices were spoofed, and challenging the presumption that only Cam's phone could have triggered the logs. "Did you confirm the device's SIM card belonged to Mr. Carter?" he inquired. Holly paused before admitting she had relied on metadata given by the FIBA not direct SIM registration records. A murmur of surprise rippled through the audience. The judge banked his gavel, urging order, but the doubt was sound. Meanwhile, word leaked that Jill Santana had met privately with Agent Rachel from the FI, which he promised to share insights on Dipset's internal activities in exchange for leniency on an unrelated charge. Some regarded it as betrayal, others viewed it as strategic survival. Social media speculated widely. Jules turned on Cam Vipsace, genuine snake exposed. The family was divided once more, this time by doubts of loyalty among their own. In the midst of the tumult, an unexpected testimony emerged from a warehouse clerk named Luis Rodriguez, brought by the defense. He detailed the day of the purported drop-off in detail. The sub pulled up, he claimed, but the driver never left the vehicle. They only scanned numbers on a clipbook and disappeared. Lewis pointed to a video sample showing the sub's mirror and partial plate matching the one parked outside the courthouse. "Nobody got out," he repeated. And nothing worse emptied. The jurors watched carefully, exchanging expressions. For the first time, the defense had a tangible eyewitness challenge to the prosecution's narrative. Cam's relief was evident. He breathed gently, eyes glistening. Jadakiss rubbed his back as if to say, "We got this." But Lind emphasized, "This is only one fight, not the entire war." She reminded them of the feds. Cam strode out onto the marble stairs, flanked by Reed and Jules, embracing the truth that this fight had many rounds left in the corridor, while court reporters clamored for statements. Mike shoved forward cameras. "Ablaze!" He cleared his throat. Today's testimony revealed they are prepared to manipulate facts to fit their purpose. He said firmly, "I'm innocent, and I'll continue to prove it." Flashes popped as his words echoed. A chant of Cam's strong supporters cheered, but skeptics murmured, "We'll see." The duality of belief and skepticism constituted the plot itself. As Chapter 3 draws to a conclusion, the enormity of this drama becomes obvious. It's not merely legal war, it's a struggle for identity, legacy and power, in an industry built on image. The players, Cam Jones, their supporters, and rivals have all bet their reputations with each new exhibit and testimony. The stakes get greater, loyalties fade, alliances shift, and every twist threatens to reshape the narrative. The hip-hop world waits with bated breath, wondering which side of history they will remember when the final verdict falls. The tension in the courtroom had barely settled when a fresh bombshell dropped. An anonymous envelope slipped to Cameron's attorney. Under strict confidentiality contained Ro Hune audio clip purportedly recorded at Jim Jones's initial arrest. In the grainy tape, a voice obviously resembling Jones taunts someone off Mick U. "Think you're clean? Cam, we all had dirt on us." The clip cut abruptly, leaving Tyrese twisted in his chair, eyes wide. "This is going to reignite everything," he mumbled. Cameron fell back, mouth tightened. Emotions ran hot as the potential of another wave of accusations loomed outside the street. Unplanned crowds gathered around news vehicles, yelling both for and against Cam Dipset. For Reva battled justice for Jim Jones in a cacophony of allegiance and mistrust on social media. The audio clip burst under lockdown dipset crisis, spreading faster than any previous hashtag. In the saga, influencers weighed in from makeshift sets, some backing with Cam's innocence, others declaring he was a step away from humiliation, and the family was divided for the third time. Jadakus tweeted. A cryptic tweet reading Simply Truth surfaced, while Jill Santana retweeted a sympathetic post from an unknown account in a poorly illuminated "Buy Safe." House agent Rachel Furrow listened closely to the film, her brow wrinkled. She paused it again, isolating background noises, a distant siren, a garbled conversation, a metallic clang. Her partner Mark grimaced as she replayed a bit where another speaker said quietly, "Meet me at the brownstone." "That may be a trap," Mark warned. "If it's true," Rachel tapped her pen against her notebook. "Or it could be the key we need to connect Cam directly to Jones's network." The boundary between evidence and manipulation blurred once more as Lynn Selle, Cam's investigator, hurried across town to find out any sign of the recording's origin. She visited the off-the-book studio, where Jim Jones had once recorded freestyles. Questioning engineers and interns, most claimed ignorance, until a shaky intern named Lee admitted she'd seen Jones with a crude voice recorder. During a late-night session, he said he wanted to capture real street talk. She recounted his voice trembling. Linz pressed for more, but Lee insisted Jones never mentioned Cam by name. "I feared it was nothing," Lee admitted, "until I heard that tape." Linz departed with both hope and dread, swirling back at Cam's grandmother's brownstone. A mournful vigil lighted the front stoop. Candles flickered against the towering paintings of elderly neighbours, and friends of Cam's family mumbled prayers and shook their heads. "This has gone too far," one neighbour said, his voice shaking. Donna, Pam's mother, gripped her grandson's boyhood jacket, her tears staining the fabric. She refused to leave until she heard from Cam himself. When his late-night call finally arrived, her relief was obvious, but short-lived. She listened. Cam's voice trembled gently. "They've dug up new dirt, Ma." And she could only say, "We'll hold on, baby. We'll hold on amid this whirlwind of rival music." Collective sensed opportunity. Stealthily, they leaked remixed versions of the audio clip, paired with beats that mimic Dipset's signature style. The tracks went viral overnight, flooding streaming platforms and meme pages. Listeners argued over the authenticity and ethical implications, but the audio's reach, the obvious Dipset brand, founded on swagger and solidarity, was now utilized as clickbait, as the rival collective's anonymous producer boasted in a private chat. "We got them right where we want them." The field of battle had extended beyond the courtroom to every headphone and screen, inside a smoky backroom of a downtown club. Janikus convened a summit of close allies Tone Tyrese and a handful of trusted friends. The air was thick with cigarette smoke and the thrum of distant bass. Chewbacca's leaned in. "We can't play defense forever. It's time for a counter-strike." He proposed releasing a documentary-style video showcasing Cam's philanthropic work, childhood footage, and honest interviews with family members. "Let the world see the real him," he said. Tyrese nodded as Tone pulled out his phone, already composing questions for interviewees. The plan gave a gleam of control in a sea of disorder, but even as they prepared, doubts lingered among their own ranks, and a hushed rumor suggested that Jules Santana was under pressure. The feds had discreetly met with Agent Hughes to arrange a cooperation deal. No official announcement verified it, but whispers in the streets indicated Jules's loyalty was weakening. A mysterious post surfaced on an anonymous site. "Loyalty's price just gone raised. Jadaku's Jules, backstage at a charity event, the tension evident. "Are you in this with us or not?" he demanded. Jules's response was measured. "I'm here for Cam, but I'll do whatever keeps Titet alive." The ambiguity further widened the schism seats. The control room felt like ghosts of past achievements. He pressed record and began impassioned speech into the microphone. "Not for a song, but for a message. Isn't just about me. It's about an entire culture. It's about truth over noise." His voice cracked with emotion as he described the highs and lows of his career, the bonds formed in struggle, and the pain of betrayal. He poured his soul into the tape, hoping it would counter the audio bombshell and reach the hearts of those still on the fence as Part 4 draws to a close. The landscape of the saga has shifted once more. New evidence, both real and manipulated, has surfaced. Alliances have frayed and loyalties remain in question. Dipset's empire stands at a crossroads. On one path, unity and vindication, fragmentation and wreckage. The next chapter promises to be even more explosive. Cameron prepares to launch his documentary Counter-Strike, and the feds prepare their next move. The stakes have never been higher, and the world holds its breath for the pivotal moment that will define Harlem's most iconic rap collective. The days that followed seemed like a frenzy of urgency and purpose. Ron and his team debuted their documentary, Counter-Strike, a raw 10-minute short that traces his experience from neighborhood ciphers to worldwide platforms. Depicting moments of struggle, triumph and obvious effect, film revealed him giving out turkeys on Thanksgiving, teaching new rappers in community centers, and performing benefit concerts for families in need. Fans reacted immediately, with some applauding the legitimacy. Others questioned its timing, and emotions ran high as viewers discussed whether this was damage control or a real cry for understanding. Meanwhile, the fans secretly filed fresh motions. Agent Rachel Furrows secured a warrant to investigate Cam's social media ads for hidden patterns of communication related to Jones's network. At the same time, the prosecution prepared evidence 63, a line of emails between Jones's lawyer and Ashell Corporation, tied to Cam's clothing brand. The emails referenced shipments labeled merch that actually contained unmarked bundles on the courtroom steps. Reporters whispered that this could be Jules Santana found himself at a crossroads after the rumored meeting with the feds. More than hearsay, he had promised to help in exchange for immunity. On his heart hammered, as he weighed loyalty against self-preservation, Jadaku's confronted him. Backstage at a sold-out event, voices sparkle with tense. "You have my back," Jadakus reminded him, and Jules' eyes twitched with regret. "I'm trying to protect us all," he responded ambiguously. Cam's grandma lit lights in each room she recited, keeping both hope and mistrust alive at home. In order to protect her grandson from the storm, his sister Kiara organized a social media. Flash mob followers are sharing childhood images of Cam with Yuan. "Remember Cameron." The movement trended globally for hours, displaying collective memory, which temporarily turned the narrative back toward unity and nostalgia on the prosecution's side. Holly Yang submitted Exhibit 47 Bits Redux, a forensic report that confirmed the metadata on the apparel line shipments matched the contested time dates, and she described how the packing addresses corresponded to the warehouse where Joan operation had been based. Jurors exchanged looks as cameras caught snippets of their replies were a blow to Cam's documentary narrative, suggesting the films and testimonials. There may be distractions, rather than exoneration, inside the defense war room. Lynn's Cole identified An inconsistency. The shell company's address was related to she went to the judge's chambers, armed with an affidavit and bank statements demonstrating the location belonged to the rival and not to Cam's business. The judge evaluated the records and agreed to strike Exhibit 63 pending further inquiry, the prosecution's lead. The attorney slapped his fist on the desk, swearing beneath his breath. As Part 5, the storm has reached a fever pitch, exhibiting rise and fall partnerships, fray and repair, and the account of Cameron's alleged participation in Jim Jones's case. Develops like a high-stakes drama. The courtroom rests on a good edge. Truth and manipulation dance in the spotlight. Loyalties have been tried. Reputations caught in the crossfire. Dips its legacy. Hangs in the balance with each revelation. The tale grows. Richer, more intricate, and indisputably captivating. The battle for Cameron's name. The essence of Harlem's most legendary rap ensemble has never been more passionate. And you've followed every twist, every leak file, every act of loyalty and betrayal. Now tell us what you think. Next, do you believe Cameron will clear his name once and for all? Or has the harm been done? Share your theories in the comments below and like this video. If you're cheering for, subscribe and ring the bell to avoid missing part 6 of this epic saga. Because in this drama, everything can happen and you won't want to miss a single moment.